What's up everybody, OT for Tech here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the LG G3 Beat and we're going to find out what it's all about. More or less this is the G3 Mini, and before we get started I'd like to thank Super Cosmos for sending this out for me to review. If you want to purchase one, the link will be in the description below to their eBay store. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the back of the box and you can see some of the features that are included in the LG G3 Beat, such as the laser autofocus. It has an IPS HD display, the battery size is right there, you can see the 8 megapixel rear facing camera with the 1.3 megapixel front facing camera. And we'll touch base on these specs later on in the video. Inside the box you're going to find the LG G3 Beat laying right there on the top. We'll go ahead and take it out of the wrapper and you can see I opted for the white version and it looks real clean and it looks very good. It looks like a LG G3, just a mini version. If you pull up the tray that the phone was resting on, you'll find some paperwork basically describing on how to use your device and some warranty information. You get a set of headphones in white, which is because I opted for the white G3 Beat. You get an extra battery charger if you get the Korean edition, and with the Korean edition you also get 2 batteries instead of 1. You get a black data cable used for syncing and charging your device, and then you get your charging brick. In this case it's an international charging brick, but if you purchase it from Super Cosmos they do include an adapter to use. So let's go ahead and take a quick tour of the device, and you can see on the front you have a 4.7 inch IPS display coming in at 720p, but it's almost bezel-less. At the bottom you have some LG branding. At the top you have an LED notification light, proximity and ambient light sensors, and 1.3 megapixel camera, and your speaker grill. On the back you have your volume up and down and power buttons, your camera, flash, and a speaker cutout with some more branding. And of course we will be covering the design of this phone more later on in the video, so make sure you stay tuned. And just like the LG G3, it does come with a pre-installed screen protector, which I absolutely hate. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all the protective coatings, including the screen protector, because I don't like the way they feel and the fact that the screen protector is a fingerprint magnet and I'd rather put a tempered glass screen protector on there. So let's go ahead and flip the phone over and pop off that removable back and get a battery installed so we can see what this thing looks like when it's all booted up. Now underneath that backplate you can see you have a slot for a micro SIM card slot, and above that you have a slot for a micro SD card slot expandable up to 64 gigabytes. And then you can see a closer look at the chrome speaker grill, as well as the volume up and down and power buttons, and of course the camera, laser autofocus, and the flash. There's a few more pieces of protective film covering some parts of the rear panel of the phone, so go ahead and grab the blue tab and remove those. And let's go ahead and pop into 2610 milliamp battery and power this phone on. Now while it's powering on, I'll go ahead and pop back on the backplate and you can see the LG boot logo right there, and then it's going to go to the SK Telecom boot logo, and it's a little bit different than the one on the LG G3 because the G3 features the LTE advanced technology, so it's going to be a little bit different. This is just LTE. So we'll go ahead and go through the setup process, and you can see the first thing you're greeted with is picking a language for your phone, and then you have your Wi-Fi internet connection set up. Moving on to the Google account setup, you can either log into your current Google account or you can set up a new one. Make sure all the boxes are checked for your Google and location, then put in your first and last name. That way the phone can recognize who the phone belongs to. Next, to ask you about different phone modes. Now this should be strictly for the Korean model. I'll go ahead and pick the LG phone mode, and then it asks you about auto install and downloaded updates. We'll go ahead and check yes and skip through that. You have the ability to turn on not code for added protection, and then you get to pick your on-screen button layout. You get to pick the color and then of course the layout itself. You can choose to give your device a name, and then you have your McAfee setup, which is a long process, but nevertheless at the very end you're greeted with the home screen. The rear portion of the phone will show you the rear firing speaker, the volume up and down and power buttons, the laser autofocusing system, the 8 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, and a single LED flash. On the bottom of the phone you'll find a microphone, your micro USB 2.0 charging port, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. On the top we have an IR blaster as well as another microphone, and from this angle you can see that chrome design that goes all the way around the center of the side of the phone. The phone feels excellent in the hand. It's light and it's easy to do one-handed tasks. To put the size in perspective, it's a little bit over a ½ inch longer than the iPhone 5S, and it's less than a ½ inch wider than the iPhone 5S. In fact, it gives me memories of my Moto X because they both have 4.7 inch displays and both house those displays in such a small package. It runs Android 4.4.2 KitKat straight out of the box, and it has 8 gigabytes of onboard storage. Now after all the bloatware, it's going to be a lot less than 8 gigabytes, expect around 4. This is after I added a few apps, mainly apps just used for testing purposes. Now what's weird though is that with the LG G3 I was able to actually remove some of the bloatware. With this, you're not going to be able to do it. Now it says that you can if you hold it down and then go back to the home screen and then slide it up to where it says remove. It actually goes through the whole trash can cycle like you removed it, but then when you go back into the app drawer, it's still going to be there. And I tried this a few times with a couple different apps and it doesn't really matter. You're not going to be able to remove any of the bloatware, unfortunately. So let's start with the settings portion of this software, and it has 4 tabs at the top: your networks, your sound, your display, and general. Under the networks tab, you're going to find some general information that you find on most any device. Under the sound tab, you have your sound profiles, volumes, quiet mode, different kinds of ringtones. You have a coloring mode, notification sound, ringtone with vibration, a vibration type, vibrate on tap, your sound effects, and of course to alert you when you get a voicemail and things like that. Going into the display tab, you're going to find several options. The first one we're going to click on is home screen, and then you're going to find options to select a home, change your theme, wallpaper, a swipe effect, allow home screen looping, to back up and restore your home screen settings, and a help tab. Next, we'll go under the lock screen option, and underneath that you're going to find options such as selecting a screen lock, a swipe effect, a wallpaper widget, missed call, a new message notification, shortcuts, contact for lost, a lock timer, and of course your power button locking instantly. Next, we'll go into the home touch buttons. You can select a button combination. You can also add buttons such as a notification button, a Q memo plus button, and a Q slide button. Now, unfortunately, unlike the LG G3, you do not have access to the dual window mode, and that is because this is a smaller display and it does not pack that powerful processor that the LG G3 has. Going back, you can see you can select a color for your home buttons, a transparent background, and you can hide those buttons in specific apps. Going back under the display tab, you can see there's also several other options such as control over your notification LED, auto rotate screen, just some things like that. Going under the general tab, you can see here that you do have access to quick circle case settings. Therefore, this will support a quick circle case later on in the future. Going back down, you can see you have gestures. You have, of course, the double tap to lock and the double tap to turn the screen on. And if we go under the gesture tab, you can silence incoming calls by simply flipping your phone over face down, or you can snooze and stop an alarm the same way. You can pause a video. You have some of the same gestures that are found on the LG G3. You just don't have all of them. This phone does not have very good specs. It has very low-end specs, to be honest. It has the Snapdragon 400 processor, the Adreno 305 for graphics, and it only has 1 GB of RAM. But just pulling it straight out of the box and going through different home screens and loading up my app drawer, even loading up specific apps and things like that, it's been pretty snappy. And just off of my 1 to 2 days of use with this phone, it has been pretty good, and I'm pretty pleased with the performance of these low-end specs. Now, if you mix these low-end specs with LG's skin, this is the exact reason why dual window mode is not offered on this specific device. However, one thing I did find that was weird is the fact that Q voice is not offered on the LG G3 Beat. Even though it's not here over in the US, I found it kind of weird that it's not an option on this phone. Moving on to the camera side of things, you can see here that it does have laser autofocusing, and you can see it is very fast, and it pulls that over from the LG G3, and it does not miss anything when it comes to that focusing system. And I'm very happy that they implemented that in this low-end budget smartphone. Going into the settings portion of the camera app, you can see you have options such as saving to an SD card, your grid mode, a self-timer mode, your voice to take a picture, and then your resolutions. You can shoot pictures all the way up to 8 megapixels and all the way down to 3 megapixels. In terms of video, you can shoot in 1080p or you can shoot in 720p. You do not have options for 4K resolution, nor do you have options for 720p slow motion. And of course, you have options to turn HDR to auto, on, or off. Now, if you thought those basic settings were skimp, let's go into the mode settings. Under the mode, all you have is panorama and you have auto. Not much to choose from there. And of course, you have options to switch to your front-facing camera, which is a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. And you do have the option to do the gesture where you hold up your hand, wave to the camera, make a fist, and it will take a picture. So that was a carryover from the LG G3. And we'll cover that more later on in the comparison between the LG G3 Beat versus the LG G3. If you guys want to see that video, drop me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. And of course, you can turn your flash on and off. Moving down to the lower portion, you have a back button, your camera button, your video button, and then access to get to your gallery. Now, I was able to get LTE on this device, but I had to actually change the APN. Now, I did not have to do this with the LG G3, but it's a simple process. You just have to change it from the AT&T PTA to AT&T phone. It's a very easy process. If you need a link, I'll leave a link in the description below showing you how to do it and what to put in. Now, this was the LG G3 Beat initial assessment and unboxing. I hope you guys liked the video. I have a lot of other videos that I could do with this phone, but I need to know, do you want to see it? Do you want to see a full comparison between the LG G3 Beat versus the G3? What's different? Do you want to see some gaming videos and things like that? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, follow me on all my social media networks, and of course, as always, guys, thank you for watching and all your support.